Hey guys, Daniel again. We're back for part 2 of the Scaleless episode. Looking forward to this. In this video, we're talking about the different lines of Scaleless Head and also the husbandry of the Scaleless. So let's get right to it. Okay guys, part 1. So here, or part 2. So here we go. The Scaleless Head, the original traits of the Scaleless Head was they had the labial pits, they had perfect scalation down the body, with scales missing on top of the head. The micro scale had no labial pits, a zipper belly, beaded scales along the back, and the scalation down the back was incorrect as well. Now, as far as the WHS, it follows the same as the BHB line. Now, I can't contest to, the history or where these animals came from. I can tell you what I know. I have BHB animals that produce microscale type animals. I have microscale type animals that produce BHB type animals, and WHS is the same as well. I have all 3 lines. I have produced all 3 types of animals from all 3 lines. In my opinion, they're all the exact same thing. I will tell you that this is something from my experience, from the amount of Scaleless that I have produced here. I have produced better Scaleless. Most of the fully Scaleless that I have produced have come from BHB line animals that have the labial pits and the perfect scalation down the body. When I breed animals that are missing labial pits, beaded scales, and incorrect scalation down the back, I tend to get the 10 to 20% scales down the back on my fully Scaleless. Now that's just my experience. We're dealing with a small sample size, so that is not a fact, that is my experience. So with a small sample size of less than, say, 30 Scaleless animals, 25 to 30 Scaleless animals, that is just what I have seen. So that is my experience, that's what I'm telling you. I do feel that all 3 lines are the exact same thing. I think you are better off with a animal that has the correct scalation and has all of its labial pits to produce fully Scaleless animals. That's just my opinion, just my experience. So I hope that covers that for you guys. I'm going to include some pictures in this video to show you the difference between labial pits, non-labial pits. And also, let's talk about Scaleless. I have people all the time talking about the Scaleless not having labial pits or heat sensors or heat pits, whatever you guys want to call them. They do, in fact, read thermal energy just like any other ball python. They do not have the formation of scales down the side of their mouth that with the holes where the sensors come through. The sensors are in the skin, guys. They're not in that cluster of scales that's forming around the jawline, okay? So they do read thermal energy just like any other ball python. They do have heat sensors, thermal sensors, whatever you want to call them, okay? They do have them, just to put that to rest. All right, let's talk about some husbandry. Husbandry. Okay, guys. When I first produced my Scaleless ball pythons, nobody told me anything. There was no information out there about it. I had to do this all on my own. This is all these videos are based on my experience. Everyone has their own opinion, everyone has their own beliefs, but this is just my experience with the animals. When I started, I put them on ReptiChip first thing. They did not do well on ReptiChip. They did well up until about 300 grams, then I run into problems. Shed started backing up, started having issues with them, okay? So then I went to Aspen. There's a lot of guys right now that are keeping them on Aspen, okay? I don't like Aspen because it's dusty. It messes with my allergies, my asthma. I've never been a fan of Aspen, never. I've had the most success putting these animals on paper towels until they are 300, 400, 500 grams, and then I move them to the Reptisorb liners or inserts that go into the Freedom Breeder ARS tubs. I've had the most success with those. I've had no issues whatsoever. If you're checking on your Scaleless animals like you should be, you're not going to have any problems. You're going to keep those animals clean, you're going to keep them healthy and good to go. So that's been my experience with the Scaleless. That is what I have found to work. Now there's guys that are having success with Aspen. There's, you know, I tried Aspen for a little bit. I didn't like it. I tried Raptor Chip. It did not work well with Scaleless Ball Pythons. These animals need I think the Reptazorb liners are the best for Scaleless Ball Pythons. Just my opinion. So because these animals don't have any scales, and we talked about this before, what happens if you mentioned the shed's getting backed up? What happens when they get an injury, or you pull that skin back and it is a little sticky and it leaves it sore? I'm going to tell you exactly what I do with them. I did a little research on silky bearded dragons, and those guys are under 1,000,000 degree heat bulb. They're on sand. They're in the driest environment possible. And the bearded dragon breeders use bag balm. This is almost like a Vaseline type product. I'm almost out, but it's a very slick product. So they love this. They absolutely love this. I put this on the animal. I can put it in my hands, and the Scaleless just rubs and rubs and rubs through it. They love it. It moisturizes their skin. It keeps them healthy. It keeps them happy. If they ever get an injury, you can rub this right on that snake. Perfect. When I had sheds backing up for two and three sheds when I was trying to use Raptor Chip, I would put this on them, take the water bowl out, put this on them, leave them for 12 hours, and come back, and you can run that shed right off of them, no problem. That's after it's ready to shed. This has been a saving grace with Scaleless Ball Pythons. I try to do this once a month on those Scaleless just because they enjoy it. I don't think they need it every day. They don't need it every week because they're not under a giant heat bulb. They're not on a dry environment, okay? There is humidity in those tubs. And like I said, and so the other rumor that we had, okay, when I first got Scaleless Ball Pythons, everyone said don't soak them. Don't soak them. Don't put them in water. Don't soak them, okay? Why is that? Really wasn't sure. I started coming in all the time, and my Scaleless Ball Pythons were soaking themselves in the water bowl. Well, what are they doing? They're trying to moisturize their skin. They're also with dry sheds or anything like that, just like any other ball python, okay? So I soak mine. I did that. I showed you that in the last video with the shed. I'll soak them for 5 to 10 minutes. If you have cages that don't have water bowl holders, okay, and you're using ceramic water bowls and they turn those over in the tub, if you leave that water standing in the bottom of that tub for 2 or 3 weeks on end, their skin's going to get very pruny. It's going to tear. It's going to be a nightmare, okay? And that's why I say you have to pay attention. You have to stay on top of these animals, okay? But the bag balm has been a saving grace. I mean, it takes care of just about everything. These animals, let's talk about the skin, okay? Say they get an injury, okay? I put the bag balm on them. The very first shed, the very first time they shed, they go back to looking brand new. Just like any other ball python. We've seen ball pythons throughout the years with burns. You know, they have the scarring. These animals, I have not seen any scarring on these animals whatsoever. They shed out, they look brand new again, okay? They're very resilient animals, and they are doing well, and they are thriving well, okay? So I hope that covered a couple different topics for you guys. Anything else? Okay, another thing. I try to keep my Scaleless Ball Pythons on a lower temperature range than my normal ball pythons. And what do you mean by that? Well, you're keeping them on paper, okay? I explained in one of my videos about the 10-degree difference from the heat transfer from the tub to the Raptor Chip up to the animal through some of these ARS racks and stuff. Here's another thing. When you've got that animal on paper, guess what? It's going to read 7, 8 degrees hotter than it is with substrate in the tub. These animals are not going to do well at 92 and 94 degrees, okay? They thrive between 85 and 89 degrees. I know some people that are keeping them at 82 and 80. I keep mine at 85, okay? Something else about Scaleless Ball Pythons. The more you feed them, the better you feed them, the better you take care of them, the better they do. If you don't feed that animal for 3 or 4 weeks, it's going to have a terrible shed. It's going to have a crappy shed, just like any other ball python. If you feed them twice a week, as babies or even once a week, they're going to have a great shed, and most of the time you're not going to have any problems out of it. Okay, that's another thing. Other than that, guys, I really think that pretty much covers the husbandry. Just don't cook them. Don't cook them. Don't let them sit in water. And you know, if you've got them in a rack system, you got to kind of figure out how to control that. If you put them on paper and you've got your rack at 92 on the hot spot, move them to the bottom. Keep those scaleless on the bottom so they're a little bit cooler. They don't do well with a lot of heat. A lot of heat's going to dry a lot of that humidity out, okay? We use ReptiChip throughout our building, so the humidity's great in here. They also soak their cells. We very rarely have shedding problems, and when we do, we have bag balm right around the corner to fix it, guys. There is not this whole scaleless debate and everything, you know, has been blown so far out of proportion, and there is a reason why I'm just now opening up after working with these animals for almost 4.5 years, okay? So I'm going to explain all that to you guys in video 3. So stay tuned for video 3, and I really appreciate you guys watching this channel. Hit the subscribe button, the like button, leave your comments down below. I'll try to answer any questions you may have. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.